Hello and welcome to a brand new episode on Inside Marine. This week, I'm really excited to be speaking with the CEO and founder of Dromeas Yachts, Efe Kuyumcu. Efe, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. We've met a few times now, and I had the pleasure of sharing a fantastic meal with you when you were last in the UK, and I was just completely hypnotized by the story of Dromeas and the journey that you've been on and the passion you have for your business in this industry. And I said to you at the time that you've got to come on the podcast. So, thank you for making time. And I'm looking forward to this one.
Of course. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me too as well. And thank you for the invitation. I'm looking very much forward to it. And this is my first podcast, so I'm a little nervous. So go easy on me.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah, no scary questions. Don't worry. So look, Efe, we love to tell the story on this podcast, and I would love to go right back to the beginning and just talk a bit about how you got into the industry, why the marine industry, the story that I guess really brings you up to Dromeas Yachts.
Sure, of course. I mean, it all started way back when I was 5 years old, and a few friends of mine just said, "Oh, we're going sailing. You want to come over?" I'm like, "Sure, okay. Well, I'll see what the sailing thing is." And then I ended up pursuing that and becoming a member of the Turkish national team for a total of 12 years. And I actually trained for the London Olympics as well. So it was a wonderful 12 years of my life that I have spent just sailing all around the world, being in marinas, being around boats, racing, laser, and then fin class. So the boating and the marine side of things were so embedded in me that after high school, when I started going to university for mechanical engineering, I just looked at it as like, no, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I switched to naval engineering and kept moving forward with the marine side of my life as the priority, and started sailing again. As I said, tried out for London Olympics, placed second, and in sailing, as you know, only one person gets to go. I was semi-praying for my dear friend Alijan, who's my teammate and who had 3 successful Olympic campaigns, and he's still training. At that moment, I was kind of praying that he stumbles on a pebble or something that just strains his ankle or something. All jokes aside, but it was a wonderful teaching experience for me, and it gave me the strength, the discipline, everything I need in my life, more than I actually got from any of my education. So after my naval engineering degree was finished, I started working in a few places. I've spent some time, semi-started a company, which is a long story, but after 4.5 years, I not really decided to start my own company. And the Dromeas journey started extremely organically. For me, it was just, I told my parents that it's like the past 5 to 8 years were extremely exhausting. And I've told them, like, I'm going to take a break for 6 months, and then I'll see if I apply somewhere for a job for something that I'll move forward. I'll figure it out, but I need a 6-month break. I need a timeout. And they said that, knowing me full well, that's like, on the 5th day, you're going to start biting your nails. You need to do something. So my father had this brilliant idea of just like, draw up something. You're an engineer, and find something that is small that you can build, something like we can do. And I had this idea of, as being in Turkey, in Izmir, it's very close to Greek islands and the Aegean Sea. But the rough weather is a major component here. And over the summer, the Meltemi wind always brings short and steep waves. So the seaworthiness of any boat is extremely crucial. That I have designed this 6-meter boat that it only has a toilet, a center console, and we were considering to like start building with a few subcontractors, etc. Not a friend, but a buddy of mine asked me if I can build something bigger, and then that's how the 28cc was born, the boat right behind me. That project didn't go full well, but while we were doing the 28cc and seeing that there's an opportunity here, because anytime I show it to someone, my parents show it to someone, a friend of mine asks for it, they were like very interested. And then someone asked me if we can build a bigger version with a cabin. And that's how the first true Dromeas came out to be. And that became the 33 hardtop, which was the boat that we built. And with that project moving forward, I decided to see it through. And thanks to with a little support from my parents, I started Dromeas Yachts 5 years ago, and started building the 33 hardtop. And then someone was interested in the 28cc, so we started building that. And then we had another project, and then another 28cc. And then I see that I used, now when you look back, I've used social media fairly well. Being an outsider to marketing and running a business and everything, because I always saw myself, and I still do, as a naval engineer, basically. But we started getting dealership requests and customer requests from abroad, and I kind of pushed the brake and said, look, this is moving forward. If we're moving forward, I need professionals around me. I need people around me, and then move this forward, and the way it needs to move forward. So, as I said, very organically it kept building, and I'm extremely thankful for the right people that are around me. That's now we have. We're expanded into 2 factories. We have over 100 people. We have a new office, as you know, in the UK now. We now have over 20 dealerships around the world, from Australia to China to US. We're extremely happy with the performance of the boat. The main idea is the boat that we want to use. You and I have been in the boating business. It's not like I put myself in the shoes of the clients at all times, and see where we can move the product, the right product, which is not extremely pricey, but at the same time solves a lot of the questions that they have. But the priority is, our motto is for the love of the sea. And that means that out of 365 days, we want a boat that can handle those 365 days. Of course, I'm not mentioning the extreme weather conditions, but whenever we look at a boat, whenever we look at the engineering, it's like, if the Coast Guard can go out, we surely want to be able to go out as well.
Okay, that's really interesting kind of sort of focal concept for the boat, and probably kind of creates its own design challenges to make sure, and challenges to make sure that you know it is able to do everything from act as a luxury boat across to go and visit the Greek islands, right out to the Coast Guard conditions. But just to take it back a touch. Well, one thing I was really interested in what you were saying there was, you was about your Olympic sailing, and you're not the first guest actually that's come from kind of like a professional sports background prior to going into business. And I'm just interested, if you don't mind, just touching on a few of the things that you feel that, that kind of professional sport, that Olympic campaign experience, how that translates into business for you.
I will be brutally honest, compared to an Olympic campaign, that this is walking in the park.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Wow. In what way?
With all the challenges, even from COVID to supply chain to people to customers to finance, anything that any engineering, any problem that you have this daily cycle that like you start in the morning and then in the evening, etc. But for an Olympic campaign, I consider myself retired, actually, like planning to come out of retirement from a physical activity point of view, just getting back to running and plan to do a few marathons and stuff so that I'll get back in shape. But an Olympic campaign is 24/7. Like, and you count the grams of protein, you count the minutes that you sleep, you count the steps that you take, you count every single thing that you should always be aware that you can get tested, and even a few cups of coffee can actually like tip you over the limit. And it's not that there's so many things. You shouldn't be overtrained, but you shouldn't be undertrained. You have to push the forward, and you don't want to do some things. You don't want to do the training, but you just do it. You just have to do it. You have to go forward with it. And you, I was of course exaggerating when I said it's a child's play compared to it. But a professional sport, an Olympic athlete is, from my point of view, which I was in the team, but I never made it. I have the utmost respect for anyone who has been successful. Like, it's incredibly easy when people are watching the Olympics or the Champions League finals. Like, oh, how can you miss that with a beer in their hands? Like, that's not easy. That's definitely miles away from what any normal person can do. And that always amazed me. And that's how it was embedded in me as well. It's like, I want to, like, a lot of my friends, colleagues, my family, they say I'm a perfectionist, but it's like, I know full well that I'm not a perfectionist, but I want to do things right because I don't believe in perfection. Can't really be perfect. There's always that next step. Like, what I always do is that you look 5-6 years into the future, and then I reverse engineer to the day, and I always go back and forth in that window of time. I want to see the full picture down the line, and then move back and do the quickest thing that I can do to get there. And then that also gives you an opportunity to move in a different way, change your mind, and make a slight turn, adjustment, anything that you can see. But it is a blessing in disguise that I've spent 12 years just in grueling training sessions, from 5 a.m. calls to swimming and I had a German trainer, East German trainer, God bless him. He taught me most of the things that I know in life, and a lot of things that I know, a lot of the things that I do right now is just thanks to him, because he just installs in you that, like, you move forward. It doesn't matter. You just move forward, find a way. So that was something that really interested me when we spoke before, was and I think that maybe gets installed from that experience of, that sort of professional sport, Olympic sailing, in the, whenever there's a hurdle, you do, it's just not even a question that would slow you down. It's, you just got to find a way around it, got to find the solution. And because ultimately you've got this goal or this objective in mind, which that's the big focus. And I think that for me really translates into business, that you need to not let those kind of small things or slight hiccups get in your way, right? Absolutely. I mean, I was naive enough to start Dromeas Yachts. If I knew what was going to happen, regardless of the pandemic and the crisis we had in the past 2 years, by the way, and because both of my parents are doctors, I'm a naval engineer. It's not like these. I was with these three businessmen with millions of dollars. So like we're starting a yachting company that will go around the world. Like no, it's just one boat after the other. And now we are hopefully we'll be passing the 100 boat threshold, and the year after we're gonna even considering finding ways to double that. And as I said, we have dealers all around the world, and then we're growing with a very strong order book. Fully settled for 2022 and already discussing the 2023 allocations, growing our facilities. So it's exactly as you said, it's one step after the other, and you just keep moving forward. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Will not be defeated sort of mentality.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, obviously a big part of the success is, clearly your drive and your belief in the product and the business, and but also the importance of getting the right people in the business as well and around you, and Can you just go a bit deeper into that, and into how vital that's been, I guess, strategically and in the direction of the Dromeas and the success on that side of things?
Well, the right people, I think, are it's the one single most important thing. Like the right people will take you all the way, and if there's a synergy, and it's the right people depends on the right client. It depends on the right help that you get, the right employee, the right friend, the right mentor, any person that you surround yourself. And even if you're good friends, it might not work out. So what I have been blessed now is that there's a core team of people in Dromeas Yachts that are so in it. And I don't want to give names, but they know themselves that they live and breathe the Dromeas with me, which is extremely important. And this goes out for some of the clients we have as well. It's we have clients that ordered even more boats even before taking delivery of those boats. We have clients that ordered a second boat in the first 24 hours that they took delivery of the boat. And we have other clients that would create a massive problem because boats are made to have problems. Every boat has a problem at some point or another. Yeah. And like some other client would make a big ruckus about it, and the other one just helps you solve that problem and helps you move forward with that problem. And it goes from the supply chain to I think any side of the business. I think people are the most important thing, and I think that's the thing that comes from my family. That's one of the reasons why we were able to move forward, is that I have a mentality of just doing the right thing. I don't care about the costs. Just do the right things. Like time is, I think, the most essential thing, and you do. Breaking hearts is not the point right now. Doing the right thing is the right thing. The money you'll find, you'll lose, you'll gain. That's a completely different issue, and I really do believe it's secondary. Doing the right thing by your employees, doing the right thing by your clients, doing the right thing by your suppliers or anyone else around you, I think is the most important thing. And then people see that, people believe in that. Like somewhere or another, you just keep moving forward and make sure that you do the right thing no matter what. You don't care about the consequences. If it's the right thing, you'll have a clear conscience, and then you move forward to the next day with an ease of mind.
Yeah, that I think that people first belief. Do you feel that has played just a really big part in developing this fantastic kind of culture that you've got within the business in such, in a relatively short period of time?
I do believe, yeah, because as I said, our sales and marketing director, Vicky Farrow, as she's always complains, when she tells me a problem, it's like, don't worry, I'll find a way. She's like, how? It's like, don't worry, I'll find a way, but we have to do this. It's like, and she goes, Vicky, and she goes like, how? It's like, don't worry about it. I'll sort it out. I'll find a way. Just give me a week, a month, 2 months, whatever. But that's, and people do believe in it. This goes into production. It's like, I'll find a way. If even in production, especially with the supply chain problem right now we have, and a boat has to go out the door and we have an equipment missing. It's like, I'll fly over and bring that equipment. I'll find a way. And once people realize that the cost comes second and the product comes first and the client comes first and the employees comes first as well. It's like one of the first thing that we did. I don't like really bragging about it, but one of the first things that we did, in the very early days of the pandemic, we shut down for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, just to see where this is going. We didn't know, nobody knew, and then one of the first actions that we got is like, we don't know where this is going, but we're going to increase the healthcare plan that we have for our employees. Like, I don't care how much it's going to cost. It's if anything happens, worst case scenario, there needs to be a health plan for everyone in the company, that they feel a safety net, and we need to find a way to create that moment that we all know that we can depend on each other, that we all know that exactly as I said, is that we do the right thing, and that comes out from my family, my parents.
I think, I mean, I see now the businesses that have really taken that approach, throughout the pandemic, are really now starting to reap the rewards in terms of, their staff engagement and loyalty and that sort of thing. As the world starts to move on, there's going to be the businesses that have really created that people first culture in their organizations are going to really thrive.
I mean, it goes like this. This goes from every single subject, and we want to be transparent in our way of business as well. That's why we have a configurator that's like, these are the boats that we're building. These are the prices that we recommend all around the world. Of course, there are going to be changes because the US engine pricing or the Spanish navigation pricing is not exactly the same, but the rest we want to be as transparent and as with the client, with the dealer, so we're all on the same page, because I think marine industry has a very long way to go, and it's an interesting industry. As you know, I have a kind of sharp ideas about on some points of the industry, but we want to make a few moves ourselves and to make sure that we create the wave. We want to carve our own path and don't want to follow anyone, and we want to make sure that this is what Dromeas is from the very beginning, that we want our owners to enjoy the boat, use the boat, grow with the boat. If they own a 28, few years from now, they'll get the 33, 38. And by that time, we're going to have bigger boats as well. So they're going to be enjoying their next level Dromeas that are bigger. So we want to grow in a way that it's just one big happy family.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. And, I think it's been fascinating to see that kind of story up to now and obviously where it's going. But, let's, take the industry now. You mentioned the industry in a bit in general at the moment. And, I'm interested to get your kind of take on what are you seeing at the moment, in general that's exciting you in the industry, in the market right now?
I hope I don't piss anyone off, but I actually usually like it, but I think it's an incredibly archaic industry. For the past 5 years, there's a movement, but a lot of it is for show. There are some ideas, some principles, some moves people are making that are fascinating, and I am extremely motivated to be a part of that movement that makes the change. But there's an incredible amount of way to go. One of the biggest problems is I think it's a very small industry, and at the same time, there's an incredible amount of cash around the industry, not just inside the industry, because I don't think boating industry or the marine industry is there are still millions and billions of being discussed at an everyday point of view. But when you compare it from even like GRP industry, a composites industry, it's 100 times bigger than the boating industry, and it's actually a subset of marine industry as well. But there are so many rich people around the industry that there's always comings and goings, and I think that kind of disrupts the flow of growth and the innovation that requires in the industry. But I think there are great moves that are happening. It's right now. Wow, that was a terrible sentence, but I'll let that slide. From the electric boats that are moving forward. Kandel is doing one of the examples that that came up to my mind right away. Is I think they're doing a massively great job. They are extremely engineering-wise different things that personally I would have done. But that's a complete different story. That's a way of looking at things. I 100% support their approach, as well as other companies, of course. I'm not singling out any one company or person. Is that I think there's a massive drive. I think it's much further down the line that the electric boating is going to come over. People think that it's going to be here in the next 3 to 5 years. I think technically, 30-mile range I don't think that's electric boating for me. I'm going to be brutally honest. Unless I get the similar range from a petrol engine, with a similar speed, and that's what Tesla did. Like that, they were like 70% there. It was an alternative, and you don't have the charging stations, you don't have enough range, you don't have enough visibility. So, and you can't scale it once you started including cabins, and electric boating is actually just one side of this equation. Like the shared boating, the green boating, or my point on that, unfortunately. But I think every single part of the marine industry, I think, requires a massive growth, a massive innovation. And I think there is a lot to do. A lot of people are doing. We want to be a part of that growth. We really have ideas for new technology, out of the box thinking. Right now, our primary hurdle is to get the boats to their owners. So right now they're all shelved. We want to move forward with just getting as many boats out the door as much as possible, because having the production in Turkey and having a few large COVID cases in the factory, including myself, the past 2 years, the production-wise, we weren't as efficient as we wanted to be. So we need to first catch up on production. But after that, we really want to be a part of that moving force in the industry. But there's, I think, massive opportunity in every single way, that anything you can think of.
Yeah. I mean, look, I personally am really excited about, the technology advancements, or certainly the discussion around the technology advancements, and I hope that yes, we really do start to see these things coming to fruition quickly and collaboratively as well. But one of the questions that I also ask quite a few of our guests at the moment is, we are obviously in an extremely busy time within our industry. The amount of new interest in boating and in the marine industry in general. I don't think I've ever known it like this. And I'm just wondering, what do you feel that we need to do as an industry to really make sure that we capitalize on this huge opportunity that we've got right now in terms of the interest in our industry, to make sure that it's not a blip, it's not a short-term thing, to really capture this opportunity that we have now as an industry?
I think the primary requirement is that we need more marinas. We need everywhere. I think anywhere in the world, we need more marinas. It's not just marinas. I think it's a way of storing your boat, like shelving your boats, as well as shared boating. I think is a primary focus, or boat club systems. I think that's that is required in the industry. I think the quickest cycle is that everybody dreams of getting a boat, and by the time they are like 40 to 50 years old and have some money that they want to spend on the boat, that it's such a massive life change for them and the family as well. It becomes a problem, but you need to start small, and that's not as big of an issue in Europe and the US, but that's a massive issue anywhere else in the world, from China to India to and anywhere, basically Turkey as well, that you need to start small and scale up. Like you need a 5 meter, 6 meter boats that you can trail and just get out, just get out there, because anything below 8 meters, you can go out from 5 meters to 8 meters. You can go out with the family from 8 meters on. I think it becomes a bit of a statement. From 8 to 10 meters, that boat solves pretty much all your problems. You can of course go to a 300 meter boat as well. I'm all for it, but it's not a need, so to say. But the tail end of the industry requires to a bit more. It requires it to be more accessible for everyone. I think that's the primary way to move forward. And I don't think from now on the marine industry will have a dip. I think it's going to keep moving forward, but I do believe that it will converge. And I think it's going to be a very exciting next 10 years, 15 years, that we'll see massive shifts, massive M&As, major collapses, because they're at the same time, especially with this boating high, that are boats being built that don't have a customer. They're I don't know how to put it in the nicest words, but there are too either too futuristic or design wise too out there. Like I think the design and the engineering and everything else will start converging. I'm not saying it's gonna be like 5 companies and that's it, but there are some boats and designs that are too out of the mainstream, and if they don't have the client, there won't be a secondhand value for it, etc. So I think it's going to be an interesting next 10 to 15 years, and I think people will get into boating a lot more. There will be, of course, a lot of people that will move out of boating and see that it's not for them, but I think accessibility is the primary concern. And that accessibility both has to do with availability as well as price.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. And would you say the industry is focused enough on that at the moment, solving that accessibility piece collaboratively? I mean, yeah.
1 to 2% cares about that. Otherwise, everybody's gunning for bigger boats, better profitability, and larger revenues. And I'm not complaining. When you focus from a business point of view, and the people who are doing this are some of them, probably most of them are publicly traded companies, so they kind of have to do it. There's no way around it. I think that's a more intergovernment issue that people, if we want to move boating forward, that we need to pressure everyone's respective governments to create a more accessible sea.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So the wave that everyone's riding at the moment, and the new interest and the boat orders, and and putting more boats into the industry, that opportunity could also be the downfall in some ways if we don't look far enough ahead. If I'm
yes, I do believe. I don't, as I said, I don't think there will be a dip. I don't. It also depends on the financial markets, of course. It's that one day that you wake up and you hear Lehman Brothers going down, and then the whole downfall of 2008, 2011, etc. So no one can predict that. But I wish I had a magic ball to say. But when you consider the amount of money being printed, money being created, and a lot of people spending some of it to luxury goods, boats, and the marine sector being, whether it's renting it, charter it, boat clubs, as we have discussed, there's a massive growth in the industry. But I think that massive growth has more barriers around it, rather than just being the production capability. Like we can build thousands of boats, but if there's nowhere to put those thousands of boats, what's going to happen? People will decide not to buy it.
Yeah. Okay, so now, I mean, moving on to the future, what's next for you and Dromeas? It sounds like there's more growth plans and a lot of boats to build. What's happening down the road for you?
Well, right now we are, as I said, we are extremely focused on getting the boats out the door. That's the primary objective for us. The supply chain challenges are still a hurdle. But at the same time, we have new dealers coming on board. We are working diligently. We have a massive engineering and design team in-house that we are making improvements and developments every single day. With the new technologies that we're following, we want to move forward with the 28, 33, and 38 line that we have and grow those. And in the future is to grow into larger models and then have more dealers around the world. The technology side of things are a massive interest for me. because I think there's an incredible opportunity both on board and outside of the boat itself. There's an incredible change going around from everywhere, from cryptocurrency to NFTs to DAOs. Any way you look right now, Web3 and going on, and I think, in all honesty, 95% of those will collapse, but the 5% will be extremely beneficial for everyone. We're just following it right now. We're not doing anything on it. But I think more software as well as hardware technologies on board are a priority for us when you consider the models that are existing. And as I said, it's bigger models and better growth, because we're still a very young company. While it's our 5 years, 2 years of that was in the pandemic. So that we really do have a lot of way to go. But we have a very passionate team. So I'm very proud of everyone that is working day and night to make sure that, as I said, we do the right thing. We get the highest quality of boats that we have. We improve every single day. We're never saying that we know everything. We do everything right. But if we do something wrong, we own it. We move forward with it and solve it. So with the future, we will try some things. They might fail, and we'll be better for it.
I get the impression that your sort of passion and drive is going to create some really interesting things for Dromeas in the future. And you're obviously really pioneering some stuff now, and I think it's going to be a fantastic future for Dromeas. I think you've done some really incredible things over such a short period of time with the challenges. So I wish you all the luck with that. So just before we wrap up, we always like to ask our guests this question, and it is simply this: if you were to give a piece of advice for somebody considering coming into our industry or just joined our industry, what piece of advice would you give them?
I've read this, I don't remember where, but if you have, this was very recent, but I'll butcher it with my own words. If you have a business idea, instead of pursuing that, pursue the service that you have that business idea. So I don't know if that makes much sense, but if we have briefly touched on the boat sharing. Instead of focusing on boat sharing, I think it would be massively important that you provide the service, the platform that will create that, the web service, whatever. I'm not that into what you're doing, but as I said, it's any part that you pick up in the marine industry, you can find something to do. I think there are, no offense to anyone, there are enough dinosaurs in our industry to shake the tree and make a change all around. And anyone can get in and look for where they can make a change. And I think listen to everyone, but take only like 2% of what they're saying and just disregard that 98% and find a way to, what if they can make a difference? What if the person that they're taking advice does not know what he's talking about? Because as I said, there are so many things that you can change that it's very hard to explain. And I hope I was able to give a brief piece of my mind that there's so many things to do, and I think there's a lot of innovation waiting to happen, and would love to be a part of this innovation in this beautiful industry, because we are the luckiest people in the world. Like, when I usually joke about when people ask me, like, oh, should I get into the marine business? Like, no, but at the same time, I wouldn't do anything else. And I know a lot of people who wouldn't do anything else, because we're the luckiest people in the world that what we do is literally boats. Like, even if they're in the factory half finished with like cables hanging out of them, I love every single day walking around, trying to sort out problems, just being around boats. Like, you have meetings in marinas, like you and I just imagine the luck we have, instead of being in an office on the 19th floor without any windows, just trying to sort out some problem for something that you don't care. But and I think that's a very positive part of the industry, and also a negative part of the industry. There's a lot of the people in the industry really loves what they're doing, and I do love it for it. And when I say it's archaic and they're dinosaurs, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who love what they're doing, and they wouldn't do anything else in the world. And that brings a massive competitive drive, because they are trying to knock you off your pedestal. Everybody's gunning for each other. That's what sailing helps me, because we did the same thing on the water.
Yeah. Brilliant. Oh no, thank you very much. I mean, that's some great advice, and I think, you know, what I heard there is, you know, be brave to do it a bit differently. You know, take advice, but don't always follow the ways it's always been done, and just, I guess, be thankful for, and don't ever forget the fantastic industry that we all get to work in. And I think that's really, really great advice. And, you know, I think people will take a lot from that. Efe, thank you so much for your time. I know you're extremely busy. It's been great catching up. And, you know, hopefully you'll come back and give us an update on how things are going soon.
We'll do. We'll be more than happy to, and hope to see you soon. And Thank you very much for this opportunity. And then looking forward to listening to your other podcasts as well. They're great. I caught up on some of them just last week.
Great stuff. All right. Good luck, Efe. Speak soon.
Thank you. Bye.